guys, well welcome back to the shop. Appreciate y'all coming back. We're going to do something different today. It's three-wheeler related, but it really, my hair's a mess. It's raining outside, as y'all can tell. It's you may even hear it on the roof in the drip. That's rain too. So today's episode is a little different. It's three-wheeler-esque. What I'm going to show you today, you can apply towards your three-wheelers, and then that makes it count. But I kind of wanted to go back a little bit. I kind of wanted to go back to, if you're watching this channel, you were probably born in the 70s, maybe early 80s. And for me, it all started here. It all started with the Matchbox car. And anything with wheels had my attention. And motors came later, but wheels started it. And television shows, Fall Guy, GMC Truck, and Hardcastle McCormick, that had that little coyote. I know it was on a Volkswagen chassis, but let's pretend. Okay, we're kids, remember Smokey and the Bandit. The General Lee, that's coming up in a future episode. Cars, trucks, things with wheels, was my imagination was opened up. I could, other than playing in the dirt, we played a lot in the dirt. People our age, we were told to go outside, that's where we needed to be. And so we would take little sticks and we would make little roads in the dirt and we would play with our cars. But Matchbox cars, they were quiet for the most part. You could play with them inside and you wouldn't get in trouble. But I would take shoes. I would take everybody's shoes in the family and kind of throw them out on the floor. And then I would take an old quilt and I would kind of let it go up and just let it fall down. And then the shoes would become hills and valleys and roads for my little General Lees to jump, So that's how I spent most of my Friday nights. 7 o'clock p.m. you knew where I was going to be. I was going to be watching the Dukes of Hazzard. And then afterwards, I had about 45 minutes before Dallas came on, and then I had to go to bed. But anyways, wheels started it for me, started my imagination. And that brings us up to what comes after Matchbox cars. After Matchbox cars comes bicycles. The other day I was sitting in my chair. I'd pretty much called it a day, and you know how Marketplace is. They just kind of know what what you like. And that green bicycle popped up right there, and I had to have it. So much so that during a tornado watch, where it says tornado warning across your TV and it beep beep beeps on the radio. Yeah, it was doing that. But what was I doing? I was racing across town to buy that bicycle. And I'll show you a picture of what it looked like when it was in the ad, and then and I'll show you a picture and I'll tell you the story about the blue one in just a minute. I knew what the green one was. It reminded me so much of my blue one. That is my blue one from both of these are 1986 Haro Freestyler Sports. This was the ramp bike. They made a Master. It was a little different. The frame had 2 tubes on the top, and it was a Flatlander's bike. But when I was 13 years old, I cut grass. I had about 4 yards. I was quite the entrepreneur. And I would cut grass. And it really worked out quite well. I had 0 overhead. I could use the family lawnmower. We're talking push mower back then. Nobody had 0 turns. We push mowed it. And I push mowed about 4 or 5 yards. And I'd been saving up my money. And a guy bought this bike new, of course, in '86, and he had just started to get his driver's license, and bicycles weren't cool to him anymore, but they were everything to me. Back then, you could ride. You could leave, after cartoons on Saturday, and you didn't have to really be back until the streetlights came on. And I probably put 100,000 miles on that bicycle. I know it looks pretty good now. I've been working on it a little bit. Finding the green one inspired me to get my bike out, and it's been sitting literally in the top of this building for the last 20 years. And prior to that, it was stuffed in the corner at my old house. Ever since I got a driver's license, pretty much, because that's when motors took over, and I never looked back on bicycles. And if y'all don't know, and some of you may be new and picked up because the thumbnail is going to have the bicycles in it, and maybe that's why you're here. I'm a three-wheeler guy. But my roots go back to freestyle BMX and the movies that had come out, you know, BMX and Rad and all of those. You know, it was the kid that had the mag wheels. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. So the mag wheels was everything. You can't get more 80s than colored tires and mag wheels. Well, these are 48 spokes. This is the lighter version of the mag wheel. Some people found that they were stronger. I have not been in the bicycle world in 30 years-ish. And they have changed so much. I actually started watching a couple of YouTube videos before I made this one just so I didn't look like a complete idiot. These bikes were re-released in early 2000, and so there were differences. They had smaller sprockets. The world of BMX has changed. The wheels are three-piece or 3 layers now. They're everything's stronger, everything's lighter than what it used to be. These are antiques, and rightfully so. They're 1986. But for me to save up my money from cutting grass to afford this bike, even used, I think back in '86 it might have been $200 or $300. It was a lot. My parents thought I was crazy, and of course, as every little kid, we made those promises. It's the last bike I'll ever need. Check. It'd be worth more one day. Check. It's the coolest bike ever. Check. So, though I was exaggerating at 13, it all worked out. And so my mother watched this and she'll get that. But yeah, this was the bike. This was everything. It was so much so is when you started bringing your bicycle in your room, cleaning it, getting it ready for the next day to go ride, those kinds of things. But all the scratches and everything I put on it, though I bought it new, it was, in my mind, I remember it being relatively perfect. It couldn't have been more than a few months old. But it shows a lot of wear. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I've rambled on long enough. I've told the stories of these bicycles and what they meant to me. The chrome in 1980 was a very good chrome. It wasn't quite 1953 like the old car over there, but the chrome was still really, really good and really thick in the 80s. And what I'm going to show you today is a process to restore that chrome. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these handlebars off. Let me show them to you. These are aftermarket if you're a bicycle guy. These are not Haro bars. These were wedge bars the way I remember it. And some people call them 4-piece bars. That's what the kids call them now. They do taper actually a little bit down at the handlebars, at the handle grips, as you can see, but the rust is just awful. And I wanted to film this first before we start this process. I know what's going to look like when it gets done. It's going to be great. That's why I'm doing it. Yeah, I could have ordered some replacement bars and put on it, but that's not the way I had my bike. So I'm going to show you some pictures of the bike the way I had it in the attic. And you'll see some differences. I had green tires back then, and I had a green chain and then green handlebar grips. But when I bought the bike, it had white tires, white grips, white seat, and a silver chain. And so that's what we're going to go back with. We're putting new brakes on it as well. And we're going to set it up the way it was when I bought it. And I know that's a lot of what we do with the 3-wheelers. You know, we put them back factory. We put them back the way either we found them or the way that they were from the manufacturer. And I think that just kind of resonates. It goes across the board. If you're an old car person, you know, maybe not if you build a street rod or a race car or something like that. But a lot of people just want to put it back the way it was, and I get it now. There was a time in my life where I wanted to change everything to make it personal to me, custom. But as I've gotten older, I kind of want to put things back the way they were, with a little, you know, a little fudge room there for, you know, budget and maybe availability for that matter. But BMX, if you've got one of these hanging up in the attic, and I'm talking dyno, GT Performers, Dyna Comp, Diamondback, these are some names I'm pulling out of my hat here from way back. Diamondback was a big one. GT was a big one. Mongoose, just trying to remember. Whew, but I was a Haro guy. I had this one. I was happy. There was about 10 of us that rode every day. That's how I grew up. Trying to think of some of the other names of the other bikes. Mongoose was a big one. Kuwahara, that was one that you didn't see. There was only one of those in town. There were 2 Haros, a Sport and a Master. I had the Sport. Let's see, there was some GTs, some GT Performers, some Dynos, or Dynas. Yeah. Man, that just brings back memories just trying to think of those old bikes. I'll put some pictures up. In the last week or so, I've been kind of laid up, and so I've been doing a lot of searching and kind of getting information and so forth. If you have a Mike Dominguez Diamondback pink with white mags and a pink and white seat, I know it sounds awful. You got to get it out. That bike is worth a ton of money, believe it or not. If you've got an old BMX and you want to part with it, now is the time to do it. But be prepared. You go shopping for OE brakes and OE tires, just like three-wheelers, you're going to have to pay for them. So let's get back to our video. Today we're going to try a new process. We're going to use a product called Oxalic acid. And it's just as it sounds, it's an acid. We're going to mix it with regular old tap water at your house. This is going to take about 2 days. So you're going to see, we're going to start today. I'm going to tear this bike down. I'm going to put a few pieces in here. But the reason I'm showing this to you on this channel, or my channel, is because all the chrome on your three-wheeler, you can do exactly the same thing. Rear grab bars, handlebars, foot pegs, you could do a lot of different chrome that's already on your three-wheeler. If you've got chrome racks, you can put those in the same kind of bag. So take your material and clean it, your part. Clean it, degrease it, get it clean first, which I've already cleaned these bikes. I've been riding them, so I couldn't help it. Just had to ride them. And so get your part clean, and then we're going to take about 6 tablespoons of oxalic acid. I'll put a link in the description below. You can get it on Amazon. It's about $15. It's really not expensive, and you get a ton of it. I don't know if you can buy it in a smaller amount, but it's shelf stable. It's a powder, a granulated powder, so it's not going to go bad on you as long as you keep it dry. Just keep it out of, away from pets and kids. We're going to take about 6 teaspoons, and we're going to mix this in probably about 12 gallons of water, whatever this plastic tote holds back here. And let's give you a heads up on the tote. Careful, get the heaviest, dutiest tote you can. You'll see mine's already buckled from the weight of the water. I put a rope around the top of it and laced it through some holes to keep it from exploding. It's kind of a one-time use for something this big. If you have more projects in mind, you may want to get a more substantial container. I will kind of give you a heads up. You may want to get in a container with a lid to keep any kids or pets from possibly, messing with it. So I did look at a kid's swimming pool. I thought that would be pretty cool. But then, of course, Chloe might, find it and didn't want anything to happen to her. So it's really that simple. 6 tablespoons, some water. Put your part in it and walk away. Check it about every 12 hours. And what you're going to see is that the water's going to kind of foam up a little bit. It's going to kind of turn chalky white. It may even have a yellow tint to it. Your part may even have a little yellow tint on it, but don't fret. It's going to wipe right off. And what you will be left with is going to be chrome again, almost. It's going to be as good as you can get without re-chroming the part. So let's get started. And so these are our handlebars. Get a good look at this, because I think you're going to be really impressed with how well this is going to clean these up. I mean, they are pitted really bad. But I like to try to save them. This is what I had on the bike when I rode it. And so I just kind of want it the way it was. So be sure and stir. Y'all see I got gloves on. I'm going to be sure and stir this up. It's nice when your part doubles as a stir stick. To reach in and get them without sticking my whole arm in there. If I can, see, that might not work out. Boy, that's tight. Alright, just barely. Alright, so that's not a concern. So a couple more pieces I want to do. So I'm going to make kind of a little caddy here. These are the original bolts. You see how bad they are? I'm not going to run them through a wire wheel. We'll save that for later. I want to see how strong this process really is. I'm going to put them in here, and then you can't have a freestyle bike without pegs, and I had to source these. I'll tell you a quick story. My original pegs that were on my bike, I took them off and put them on my first motorcycle so I could ride 2 people. These are pretty trick. They fold up 90 degrees, and so they actually go on the pegs, the front forks of the bicycle. So I had to source these, and I found these online. That's amazing. You can find anything. Someone spray painted them, so I'm interested to see what the acid will do to the spray paint. The chrome underneath them is still really, really good. The paint probably protected them quite a bit. But I'm curious, what will spray paint do to oxalic acid? You know, a lot of these old three-wheelers, they're all painted too. So apparently there was a trend to paint it black. All right, so I'm just gonna let that sit there. And when we come back, it's gonna be, we'll check it tonight and then we'll know it's working and the rust itself should actually disappear. So let's check back on this in 10 hours. It's been about 18 hours since we started this. Pretty excited about it. I put the board on here just because this bucket is so flimsy. I didn't want the lid to pop off. You see it's under tension here. All right, well, we've got some reaction going on. Good. I wasn't sure if I had enough chemical in this much water. This is quite a bit of water. It's, you know, it's just kind of a mad science. But if we look close, you'll see that there's kind of a rusty color down at the bottom, and then the water itself is kind of cloudy looking. So yeah, this is promising. So what I'm going to do is I've just got a regular old inexpensive Scotch-Brite pad. You don't want to scratch the chrome, which at this point, you know, that sounds kind of funny, as bad off as it is, but you don't want to do any more damage than you have to. So let's pull the part out. We'll kind of inspect it like it is, and then we'll see what a little light scrubbing will do, and then we'll put it back in. But you can actually see, I can see rust, kind of an outline of the part on the bottom of the tub. It's like the rust is literally falling off. So I think this is really where your gloves are going to come in at. Oh, check that out. Now, one of the things I do want to tell you is you're going to need to coat the inside of your part when we get done with this process with some type of WD-40 or something like that, just because the inside is going to be, you know, affected by the chemicals as well as the outside. Let's see what we've got here. Look at that. It's just coming right off. That's crazy. You could probably even do this in like a clean rinse. Look at that. Check that out. Oh wow. I didn't think it was going to come out that good. This is 18 hours. And as you see, I'm not putting any pressure on this pad at all, and the rust is literally just it's just falling off. It is just falling off. That's pretty bad right in there. That is amazing. I've got a fan running just to kind of keep the air moving around here. This does create kind of it's a very slight odor. I only really noticed it when I took the lid off of the container, but I don't want to, wow, I can't get over that. It's kind of hard to balance this thing. Here we go. So, yeah, again, this is a three-wheeler channel, but chrome, guys. This would be awesome to take your racks, the forks, you know, your upper forks on your 200Xs and 250Rs, and you know, all of the chrome surfaces that are on our three-wheelers would certainly benefit from this. I haven't put aluminum in here, so I would err on the side of caution. But clearly the chrome is just coming out. Now, it's not going to put chrome back on it. You know, if the chrome is gone and there is chrome missing on this piece, but where that chrome was rusted and pitted, it's just gotten that rust out of those pits. Wow. I really didn't expect on doing this today. I really thought it was going to take another day, you know, more time soaking. But wow, that's I mean, that's to create a survivor look, you know, and my three-wheelers are the same way. I don't care that my three-wheelers aren't perfect, you know, they're antiques. They're some of them are 40 years old. I don't expect them to be perfect, and you know, maybe you want yours perfect. I like a rider quality machine. It looks good, you know, it's not, when you touch it, the rust doesn't come off in your hand. It's clean, it's rideable, it's usable, and that's really all I really care about. I don't care about perfect, you know, showroom condition perfect, because if I made them that perfect, one, they would cost a lot more, but I'd never want to ride them, because once you start riding them, they're no longer showroom perfect anymore. All right, I am going to put this back in here. I mean, I've got this mixture, it's working really good, but wow, what a difference already. Now, I will say that, you know, be careful, no guarantees here. We are dealing with just a chemical reaction between rust and whatever is in the oxalic acid. But check that out. What a difference, 18 hours. Look at that. What a difference. Just a little light rubbing. I didn't do any scrubbing. For this project, this is beyond my expectations. It really was. Yeah, so we're gonna put it back in here and we're gonna watch these spots here and here in this tight area here in this bend. But the rest of it is just amazing. All right, let's see what the oxalic acid did to a painted surface. Okay, well, look at that. So it took the paint. It didn't take the paint. Well, I guess it did take the paint off. It loosened the paint. Look at that. I think if I would have ran this through a wire wheel first, a little bit better prep, I think it would have come out even better. But look at that. That is already, you know, rider quality. You know, it's so much better than what it was. The spray paint that was on it has just come right off. The chrome is still intact. Now I have seen other people use this product and not had issue with real automotive grade paint coming off. But this is cheap spray can somebody put on here. Some kid probably, you know, wanted to paint them silver because he thought it looked like chrome. We all have done that. That looks great. Now this one was painted a little bit more. You can still see the silver here, and then this is the chrome. See what happens when we rub it. No, not coming off per se. We may still need to hit this on the wire brush, but the chrome itself, that other one came out a lot better. You see it's starting to break up. That paint's coming off. See that shine coming back? Yeah, I think 5 minutes on the wire wheel and then go back in this solution, I think we would be in business. Just a wire wheel. We'll do that, and then I'm going to stick them back in the caddy and stick them back in here, and I will come back out here tonight. It's been about 30 hours. I don't want to leave it in here any longer than that. I don't want to leave it in overnight. Tomorrow I'll have to get up and go to work. That's not going to work. I would hate for it to take the chrome off. So I think 30 hours is enough. This is the first time me using this, so we're going to be kind of easy about it. Let's see what we've got. I tell you, the results were so good at 20 hours that I'm excited to see what this is going to be like. All right, nothing looks crazy. All right, so I want to show you the areas that still had a little bit of rust on them. You'll see this yellow, if I can get it out of here without it really coming off. Oh wow, that looks so good. I'm telling you, I can't wait to do a before and after photo. Look at the yellow. See the yellow? Whoa, don't get that on you. That's bad stuff. There you go. All right. See how it's turned yellow? Here it's yellow. That's where the rust was still lacking. I think we're in a good place. Remember, there's quite a bit of rust here in that corner, that lower section, on both of them, really. All that's gone. A little bit there. Let's see what our scrub brush does. It is working. It is coming off. See how it's beading up, the rust color's coming off. Yeah, I think maybe we should leave it in overnight again. And I was thinking about this. I told y'all that these were wedge bars, but I think they're Odyssey wedge bars. I think the brand was Odyssey. And I remember, yeah, I remember getting my bike back out in my late teens, maybe early 20s. Thought I was going to ride again, you know. I'll tell you the story. So me and a good friend of mine, he had a bike, and he got it out, and we were decided that we had cars now. We could ride, you know, we could drive places and ride, you know. We thought, man, there's a lot of cool places to ride. We got our bikes out and we got them tuned up, and I rode out into the street and I went to do a trick. And I remember at this point in time I was probably 20, maybe 22, somewhere in there. And I spun the pedals backwards, and the pedal came around and caught me right in the shin. And I limped with my bike like this, and I pushed it all the way back to the garage. And that was the last time I ever rode this bike, up until just the other day. Yeah, I would rather stop where I'm at and have just a little bit of rust in that corner right there that I might could get off with like an emery pad or Scotch-Brite or something, than to risk any chrome coming off. So I think we're going to stop here for this particular part. I'm going to go rinse it with regular water and probably spray it down with something like a WD-40 or something like that, that will stop any kind of rust from coming back. These parts look so good. I really got high hopes for them too. All right, what we got here? So I did run these through the wire wheel like I told you. Yep. Look at that. Remember these were spray painted once before? Now the wire wheel took a lot off. These little bolts come out really good. The chrome's just missing. I mean, you're not going to be able to put chrome back on it, but at least we can get the rust knocked down. We can seal the metal to some extent and keep it from rusting again. And that's the best we can hope for at this point. Now I know someone's asking, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. My understanding is you can pour this mixture out in the yard, and it will not kill the grass. You just want to dilute it down with some regular water so you don't have any puddles if you have animals around. Check that out. There's your before and after. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Remember what we started with. That's hard to believe. So I'm going to end up doing the back portion of that frame as well. It's got a lot of rust around the foot peg areas in the back. So I'm going to attack that the same way. I'm just going to take the whole bike, take the wheel off, and set the frame in this tote. Do the same process to that, and then wipe it down with something that like maybe a Never Dull or something like that that will protect the metal and won't let it rust again. So that's my next step, is to get this rinsed off with regular tap water and then treat it. So I'm probably going to sign off right now, and instead of dragging this out any longer. I think that's the result we were looking for. You can use this on your three-wheeler, your boats, your cars, your bicycles, whatever that's chrome plated. Just be careful. I think it's pretty powerful. I may have had my mix a little too strong. I haven't seen anybody report any loss of chrome. So just be gentle, be careful, and I think you'll be real pleased with the results. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we're gonna get this bike back together real soon. Thanks.